And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon. And the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, Now is come salvation and strength, and the kingdom of our God and the power of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb, and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword, and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand, or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666.
I'm sure you can recognize who I am, but if you don't, let me introduce myself. It is I who worship God for thousands of years. I was the greatest of all slaves. My beauty lifted the hearts of the crowds. My light outshined the stars. And I was determined to ascend above the clouds to the high sacredness of God. And it happened. My wish was granted. It was a dream come true. I was rewarded by my Creator to be amongst the finest angels, the most loved. I was adoring all my eminence until your father, Adam, was created. I couldn't believe that I, the greatest of all, had to prostrate to an insignificant human made from clay. Difficult it was. I refused. I said no to the Almighty. I worshipped God for thousands of years. For how long had Adam served him? Why was Adam given the whole earth to rule? Clearly, I deserved it all, without a doubt. I am the one to rule and command the earth. Since the day of my refusal to kneel, I turned into the worst creature, became the enemy of God and his faithful servants. God promised me to enter hell on the day of judgment and to be held there for eternity. All this has happened because of you. I hate and envy you the same way I envied your father. Since you were born, I have been sinfully harming your life. I will not enter hell alone. I want you to share the pain with me and the curse that will descend upon me. I want to see you burn, cry, and scream as I will. Do you wish to know how I will achieve this? I will uncover the secrets behind my deceptions, the cunning tricks, the manipulation of strategies, and use it all to lead you towards sin.
I was the manager of Zodiac Productions, which Zodiac Productions, its name's been changed since then. I'm not even sure what they call it now, but it's the largest music conglomerate in the world. It owns RCA Records, Columbia Records, Motown Records, owns almost all the concert booking agencies in the United States. And that's not even the name of the company that owns it. The name of the company that owns it is Brenner Enterprises, and Brenner Enterprises is owned by Chase Manhattan. Chase Manhattan's owned by Standard Oil, and Standard Oil is owned by the Lords of London. You can track it on back. You kind of get the idea after a while. But I was the managing president of Zodiac Productions. It was one of my jobs as being one of these 13 people. Thus, I got to know many of the people who produce music and sing the music and play the music that you play. Now, one of the closest friends that I got during that time that I obtained was a man named David Crosby. Crosby, Still, Nash & Young. I saw David the day before Christmas last year, talked with him. I got him away from this witch that he had with him. He told her to go shopping. We were in West Hollywood, and I was witnessing around to people I knew. We went off in this store, and we started talking. I said, David, I'd like to ask you a couple questions. I said, I already know the answers, but I've been gone for 5 years. I'd like to know if certain things are still the way they were when I left. I said, now I'll have to explain some of this when I'm done, because you're not going to understand it all unless you know something about music. I said, do they still take the master to the temple room? Dave said, yeah. I said, do they still have the coven conjure demons into the master? He said, of course. I said, now, I got to know something. What's the main reason for rock music? He said, come on, Lance, you know what the reason is. I said, please, David, I don't want to guess. Tell me what the main reason is. He says, the same as when you were in, so that we can play spells on people that we couldn't cast spells upon. I'll explain what that means in a minute. I said, okay, one last thing. I've been hearing that you must be an initiated witch now to get a record contract. He said, that's right. He says, many of us that weren't total witches have to be witches now in order to produce music. The master is a tape about as big as the top of this podium that looks like an overgrown 8-track that the album is cut on and is placed in a machine that produces and presses the records and the 8-tracks and cassettes that you buy. After it's been recorded, it's taken in. This is why a master is cut months in advance before it's released. On the full moon, it's taken into a temple room about the size of this auditorium that is in every one of the major music companies, behind locked doors up in the executive offices. And it's placed on an altar, sitting in the north of the room, and a pentagram engraved in the floor. And 13 hand-chosen witches and wizards and a coven come in and conjure a principality or a power up, usually Regia or something like that, and order him to tell the demons under him to follow every record and every tape coming off of that master. As I tell many Christian parents, you can go home and count your kids' records, probably yours too, and count how many demons at least are there. If that's too hard for you to believe, I'm sorry. That's why they do it. Now listen to me. This is why rock music's addicting. Have you ever seen kids that got rid of their music? They go around like this. They can't wait to find a rock station somewhere and they sneak off just like getting a cigarette or a fix because it's addicting. That's why they can't give it up. The rest of the conversation was this. You can't cast a spell on a Christian, but you can get a Christian to cast a spell on themselves. If you give the permission for the spell to work, being a Christian won't block it. And rock music is not just a song. It is supernatural music that which is carefully designed by their spirit guides or familiar spirits in the form of spells. Now, although the devil's music's power is the music and God's music is the words, much of the songs are written in what we call witch language. Give you kind of an idea. Many of you talk on a CB, unless you know what a smoky is, and a 10-4, and a front door and back door and rocking chair and these type of things. You don't know what you're talking about. Same with witches. When you're in the first and second level, you have to learn over 2,000 words that said by anybody else means something totally different than when you say them. Elton John has said he's never written a song or sung a song that wasn't in witch language. Now I want to show you something. See how many kids in here will be honest and adults. How many remember and have heard at least several times a song called Hotel California? Somebody tell me what it meant. Quickly, somebody tell me what it meant. Huh? That's pretty close. But from the words, what did it mean? Well, that's more of a guess. See, most people can't tell you. That's why when people do drugs and they listen to songs in which language, they get some of the meaning. But most of the time, they can't tell you. Stop and think how many songs are out there that you really like, and you don't have any idea what the person was talking about. Beyond the Yellow Brick Road? How about The Destroyer by Kiss? Can anybody tell me what it's about? Kiss said in it, kids, kill your parents. They're talking about Helter Skelter. Beatles sung Helter Skelter in which language? Nobody knew what it meant. Manson did because he belongs to the process. Helter Skelter is a several thousand-year-old word. Most of the music is either about Helter Skelter or a place called the Night Winds, which is what Hotel California is about, and different doctrines of witchcraft. You listen to them, your parents let you listen to them, and they have no idea. Kiss openly bragged how they were gaining control of people through their music because the people played their music. They told how they didn't form their own group. Their church, because they were ordained ministers of the Satanist church, placed them together. And that's how most of the music is done. David Crosby, when him and Crosby, Still, Nash & Young produced the record Two-Way Street, they ordered the principality of Medici to order demons of rebellion to go into the record, and everybody that heard it would be rebellious against law and order and government. And it was one of the reasons for the great upheaval in the 60s was that one album. And they take open credit for it.
A ritual is pretty much a rite of passage is what it is. A ritual's definition is a religious or solemn ceremony consisting of a series of actions performed according to a prescribed order. The ritual summons the god or the demon, but the blood satisfies them. This is where child sacrifices start. To pay for your gift from the gods, you must sacrifice your gift from God above. You must pay with a human life like Cain did. So rituals include dancing, sex, chanting, astral sex, false tongues, tattoos, marks, self-inflicted pain, ritual pain, cutting, bleeding, drug use, drunkenness, transcendental meditation, yoga, homosexual sex. It's all ritual praise to the gods. Serenade is, during the ritual, music is of the utmost importance because the ritual gives you rite of passage. But the music plays the frequencies needed to summon the gods and cross them over into our plane. We summon whom we serenade. Taking the music of a song with a message that was negative and trying to change the message to positive is impossible because your brain has already accepted the song's message. Your mind has mind-stamped the song's frequencies and related them to the original message. It is impossible to change that stamp. Even though you sing new words with your mouth, your body and chemicals have recorded the music, and thus the original message is still prevalent in your mind. The industry knows that you can sing or speak positive words but emit negative energy at the same time. This is why they give their artists a positive song every now and then, but because the intent is evil, they are able to emit resonant frequencies that defile you even with a positive message. Holy hip-hop is a prime example of this. The true intent of the artist is self-promotion, bragging, swagger, etc., but the message is Christ. This is why they continually fall into sin, promote the same lifestyle of the real hip-hoppers, you know, the piercings, tattoos, sagging, grill, all that, but speak positive in their raps. They even copy the resonant frequencies of the Illuminati's music and put positive lyrics over that. This is the same as having a clean version versus an explicit one. The intent of the music remains, and it changes your thought process. It's a trick to make you resonate to the industry standards. You can't redeem music because it's not matter. It's a particle. You can't redeem hip-hop because it's an idea, not a living soul. Only man is a living soul. If he could redeem hip-hop, then you could be able to redeem animals, devils, and demons. None are living souls, only man. This is why God's music must originate with what? His intent. It cannot be a copy. Evil in music possesses evil energy and intent. It's not about the words. Look at somebody say it's not about the words. As much as it is the intent. People react to the intent or energy of the artist's resonant frequencies as well, not just the lyrics. It's not about what you're saying. It's about what you're feeling and doing, your intent. The Bible talks about this, and it calls it death and life are in the... Wait, stop, don't clap. It's not in the tongue. It's not in what you're saying. It's in the... What is power? Energy. Light. Power of the tongue. Yod means hand. Hand is what you move stuff with and arrange things with. Need another Bible example? Jesus did it. Jesus walked by a fig tree. He was hungry, and the fig tree didn't live up to its name. Jesus cursed it. You won't bear anything else. They came back, fig tree was with it. Now when Jesus does it, it doesn't take 30 days. It's like instant. Because he is the Son of the Most High God. You think it understood Jesus' language? It's his intent. Can I keep going? Ain't this good? Hip-hop is the genre of choice of the Illuminati because it's simplistic enough so as to not stimulate thought, but allow our receptors to be free to receive the message and the intent. Sampling music simplifies it even more because the mind is already trained by the old school hit, and thus you are not only receiving a new sinful message with intent, but you now take on the original intent of the sample as well. The enemy has created an army of blind followers that defend their demise and shun truth for the sake of their musical drugs. Right here, musical medicine, musical alchemy. This is good stuff right here, y'all. Y'all gonna give me some time, right? Find a person that says they love all kinds of music or they listen to all kinds of music, and then the world calls them eclectic, but they are usually emotional wrecks. They depend on music because it's a drug to them. This guy, Richard Pellegrino, is a brain surgeon, and he works in the trauma ward in the hospital. People come in the hospital high on heroin, and so in order to get them off the heroin, get them off the high because they're about to die. They're right at the edge about to die from an overdose, so he gives them naloxone, which is a drug. That drug, the drug binds to the opium receptors of the brain, and then when heroin is bound to these receptors, it kicks it out and takes their high down. Well, he said, if you find a group of people that love music or love a certain artist or whatever, when you give them the same naloxone, it changes the way they feel about the artist. Because what happens is these people with the opium, that's on the heroin, when they take this naloxone, they jump up, swinging and fighting. And the doctor's like, what's wrong? You messed up my high. But you was about to die. Yeah, but you messed up my high. But you were about to die. The same thing. It binds, music binds to the same receptor. So he gave this same medication to some people that were crazy about music, and they lost the desire for their music. What does that tell us? That tells us that when I try to take your music away, you come up swinging. No! Don't take my music away. I'm high.
The clues are everywhere. Occult symbolism can be found in almost all major music videos, concerts, merchandise, and records. But what does it mean? Is all of this just a mere coincidence? Or is it in fact a secret message from our favourite pop stars? Are Kanye, Keisha, Lady Gaga, Drake and Jay-Z all trying to tell us something? Something that we shouldn't know about the darker side of the music industry? In 2009, Kanye West debuted his song Eyes Closed live in concert. In the song, Kanye raps, "I sold my soul to the devil, that's a crappy deal. This game you could never win cause they love you, then they hate you, then they love you again." Is it possible that Kanye West is referring to an elite organization thought to be manipulating the world's most powerful corporations? Was Kanye perhaps referencing the secret and all-powerful fraternity known as the Illuminati? And if so, what interest would this organization have in the music business? The power that music has on the human mind has been well documented for thousands of years. Writing around 400 BC, the philosopher Plato commented that music gives soul to the universe, wings to the mind, flight to the imagination, and life to everything. And hundreds of scientific studies have proven that music can have a profound effect on human emotions, sensory perceptions, and behavior. In 1839, Heinrich Wilhelm Dove made a fascinating audio discovery when he uncovered the strange phenomenon of binaural beats, special frequencies within music that affect how brainwaves behave, and consequently, our mood. A more recent study in 2012 by psychologist Annette Schirmer uncovered that our perception of the external world is directly affected by musical rhythm, because our brainwaves become in sync with auditory beats. What's most intriguing about this study is that Schirmer realized that when people move in synchrony, they are more likely to perceive the world in synchrony. This means that our mental processes can be altered simply by using music to manipulate brainwave oscillations. Equally, the power of the moving picture has been noted by some of the world's most powerful and dangerous minds. Hitler's Minister of Propaganda, Joseph Goebbels, said that film was one of the most modern and scientific means of influencing the masses. In the 1980s, even ordinary parents across the country started to worry about the power of the media, when two young men called Raymond Belknap and James Vance committed suicide under the alleged influence of satanic subliminal messages hidden in the Judas Priest record. Undoubtedly, music and the media have the power to influence our thoughts and behavior. So is it possible that a powerful group of world leaders, like the Illuminati, is controlling the music industry with the purpose to fill the media with subliminal messages of its own choosing? And if this is the case, then why? The Illuminati was founded in 1776 by Adam Weishaupt as an alternative secret fraternity to the Freemasons, and it advocated the sciences, gender equality, and rationalism. In 1785, the Illuminati apparently disbanded when secret societies were made illegal. But many conspiracy theorists like Mark Dice and David Icke believe that the Illuminati lived on in secret, and transformed into a new and much darker version of itself, with the primary goal to achieve world domination through establishing a new world order. On the American $1 bill, the Latin phrase Novus Ordo Seclorum appears on the all-seeing eye, which is an old Masonic seal. Novus Ordo Seclorum translates as New Order of the Ages, and conspiracy theorist Manly P. Hall points out that founders of the American government had close ties with Freemasonry. Hall believes that the government and businesses have used Freemasonry's relationship with the occult to control the masses through satanic symbolism. The 666, devil's horns, triangles, the Eye of Providence, and inverted crosses are just a few of the signs that have been branded across our media in order to help pervert and deceive the nation into becoming sinful, gullible creatures. And what better way to establish this new world order and spread these symbols than through the music industry? From 2004 to 2013, the global digital music industry generated approximately $6 billion, and video hosting service Vevo has around 57 million unique visitors from the US alone every month. Which means that songs and music videos by artists like Rihanna, Justin Bieber and Miley Cyrus reach a massive audience and could be used to brainwash the population with specific thoughts and ideas. Many of Rihanna's music videos contain Illuminati symbolism, but her 2007 video, Umbrella, is full of hidden satanic imagery. Even the album that the song is taken from is called Good Girl Gone Bad, which might highlight the Illuminati's occult desire to pervert its audience. The demonic triangle, Rihanna's sinful transformation, the six-shadowed backing dancers and the devil himself can all be found in the video. This song, along with many other chart hits out there, conveys similar messages, with the possible secret intention to create a society built on pleasure-seeking, distraction, celebrity obsession, and dumbing down. From the Illuminati's perspective, a nation built on these ideals is far easier to manipulate, and so it's much easier from this point to dominate the social hierarchy and establish their new world order. In other words, according to conspiracy theorist Mark Dice, the Illuminati might be playing with our favourite musicians like puppets. For a slice of fame, these artists have sold their souls to a secret evil organisation, and now they're paying the price by being forced to produce content against their will, so that the Illuminati can reign over a capitalist society. Opposing the Illuminati is a dangerous business. In September 1996, rapper Tupac Shakur was shot dead in Las Vegas. Not just an ordinary artist, Tupac was also a poet and activist who spoke out against capitalism and oppression. His final studio album, Don Killuminati: The 7-Day Theory, was thought to have angered the music industry. In an interview, Tupac explicitly said, "That's why I'm putting the K to it, because I'm killing that Illuminati shit." Many fans suspect that Tupac was murdered by the Illuminati for insulting them. If this organisation is real, then they are not to be messed with. A much more unsettling theory about the occult symbolism sprawled across our media is that it's not just a warning sign from musicians about the threat of a dangerous new world order, but rather a celebration by the Illuminati, gloating at its accomplishment in infiltrating the minds of a nation through the pervasive world of music and the media. According to political scientist Noam Chomsky, the fat cat's hold on music, advertising and video has a direct impact on the distribution of wealth within America. Today, 1% of American households own a massive 34.5% of privately held wealth, which is exactly what the Illuminati want, to oppress the masses through poverty.
I come from the school of thought there's just some things that the public just shouldn't know. You know what I'm saying? Like things that happen between two people, a wife and a husband, girl. I just don't think that it's for mass consumption. I just have always felt that way, and I just think that the whole idea of celebrity and fame has become really convoluted and, you know, kind of bastardized, like whereas fame used to be the byproduct of success and now it's the ultimate goal. And if your ultimate goal is to be famous, then you're gonna do a lot to get there, like sign your name in blood in a contract with the devil.
I sold my soul to the devil. I know it's a crappy deal. Lisa came with a few toys like a Happy Meal.
In the dark shall emerge from the fiery depths of hell, to swallow the shallow, the hollow who dwell in the shadows of all who are willing to sell their souls for this rap game. And it goes 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That ain't the hook, now follow me. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That ain't the hook, now follow me.
I keep on dancing with the devil. I keep on dancing with the devil. My soul, there ain't no turning back. I keep on dancing with the devil.
Didn't you release a CD like almost 10 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I released a gospel record when I was 15 because I grew up in, a household where all I ever did was listen to gospel music, and my parents are both traveling ministers, and so I kind of sang about, what was going on in my life at 15, and that's how I got introduced to the music industry. I swear I wanted to be like the Amy Grant of music.
Yeah.
But it didn't work out, and so I sold my soul to the devil.
'Cause you're hot, then you're cold, you're yes, then you're no, you're in, then you're out, you're up, then you're down.
Voice spoke to me and it slowly started saying,
bring your lifestyle to me, I'll make it better.
And how long will I live?
Eternal life and forever.
Or will I be the G that I was?
I'll make your life better than you can imagine or even dreamed of. So relax yourself, let me take control. Close your eyes, my soul.
My eyes are closed.
Why do you still do it? Why are you still out here?
Well, it goes back to the destiny thing. I made a bargain with it, a long time ago, and I'm holding up my end.
What was your bargain?
To get where I am now.
Should I ask who you made the bargain with?
with the chief commander.
On this earth?
And on this earth, and then in a world we can't see.
And when I was 12 years old, I signed a deal with Satan in my room, and I was to...
CBS doesn't condone this in any way.
Wait a minute. Because I wanted to get famous no matter what, and, then I forgot that I had this deal with Satan and everything, and then I got really famous. And then one day I, had this tragic singing accident at
yes, I remember that, yeah.
And I realized then that Satan was coming for my soul.
Jim's contribution to music was that Jim was real. Jim was real on stage. Jim was real when he wrote his songs, when he sang his songs in the studio. He was not a performer. He was not an entertainer. He was not a showman. He was a shaman. He was possessed, man. He was possessed, man. Possessed.
I let my cheeks slide down the cool, smooth tile.
More so than any man that anybody can come up with, we can prove that Aleister Crowley has been more influential on Western culture, popular culture, than any other human being. Now that's quite incredible because he's also the most highly regarded Satanist. And a Satanist he was. Some New Agers and some Satanists want to try to distance Crowley from being a real Satanist. However, he makes it really clear. We have quote after quote after quote who he was serving and how he was serving his god Satan. In fact, he did rituals that make it quite clear. He would grab a frog in one of his rituals and he would say, hail under the power of Satan, I have you, Jesus of Nazareth, to the frog. And then he would crucify this frog and speaking in the terms as though he was Satan and treating this frog as though he was Jesus. This was just one of his many satanic rituals. He was a very, very evil man. He was kicked out of France and called the evilest man in the world, or the wickedest man on earth, by the popular newspapers of his day. He talked about sacrificing several children to Satan. He talked about bringing in the New World Order under the coming Antichrist. So it's very pertinent to understand that many of these musicians that lined up after him were all about anarchy and rebellion against established government, and with the idea of bringing in a new world government, some kind of socialized world government and so forth. And Crowley, his ideas were more like Nietzsche, though, and more like Hitler in regard to politics. And ultimately, that's where all this is leading. I mean, it's all about peace and love on the outside. But when it all comes down, there's going to be a brutal leader that will emerge, who Crowley was forthright enough to talk about in his books, and talk about this bloodbath that would come, wherein Christians would be put to death in the establishment of the New World Order. But it's just amazing. Daryl Hall, Sting, Hall & Oates and Sting, and we could mention different grunge groups, and all these different artists you would not believe, one after another, that was influenced by Crowley. I mean, I can't think of any other occultist who's been more influential on rock musicians than Aleister Crowley. No one close.
Now, what about Crowley's influence over people you wouldn't expect? Somebody like Adolf Hitler.
Well, Crowley apparently influenced people from Adolf Hitler to Timothy Leary, to Robert Anton Wilson, to Harry Hay, to L. Ron Hubbard. And all these names are significant. With regard to Adolf Hitler, it's interesting that two of the societies that influenced Hitler in his early days, that became, many people came out of these two societies, the Tool Society and the Vril Society, to become Hitler's henchmen in the Nazi movement. And basically the Nazi movement used these two societies, were societies that were influenced by Aleister Crowley and by Madame Blavatsky. In fact, it's said that Hitler had read, or Crowley claims that Hitler basically sought to put into effect his plan of a new eon and so forth, and the Superman. I mean, before Hitler was talking about the Superman, in the whole Nietzsche idea, Crowley was developing that under occult terms, which is what the whole Nazi thing was. It wasn't simply an atheistic Nietzschean type of idea. It was more of a occultic idea with the Hitler Superman. I mean, when after they went into Germany and Germans had lost the war, I mean, they found, several Buddhists, hundreds and hundreds of Buddhists who had been imported from India. The swastika itself is a Eastern symbol. Crowley's New Age would be a uniting of Eastern mysticism and Western mysticism, and a synthesis of the two, along with occultic drug use for supernatural powers, the philosophy of do what thou wilt, which in the 1960s became do your own thing. In fact, if you think of it this way, Crowley's maxim was do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law, totally against Christ, who said, not my will, but thine be done, to the Father, and told us to pray, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Crowley was called the Beast even from a young age, when he was just a teenager, by his mom. His mother was a Plymouth Brethren evangelist. His father was a Plymouth Brethren evangelist who he rebelled against. His mom called him the Beast. From that day on, I mean, he signed all of his letters the Beast 666. I mean, it was pretty clear where he was coming from. But his whole concept was, he read the book of Revelation, and he read about the coming new world order under Antichrist. And he said what attracted him was not the images of the Lamb, not the images that are put forth of the things of the kingdom of God, but he was attracted to the beast and to the dragon and to the whore of Babylon. And he wanted to be, he said, he wanted to get in touch with Satan personally, become his right-hand man. What just so happens that he was used more than anybody in Western culture to influence popular Western culture toward this liberal kind of do what thou wilt attitude, whereby in the 1960s, the maxim was, not do what thou wilt, but do your own thing, the same thing, or if it feels good, do it. Now this is significant because in the 1940s, Crowley wrote that he believed his new eon, his movement, would take off in the United States like no place else. And Aleister Crowley said what he needed to do was to get a hold of the youth. He used to go to Oxford and other colleges to recruit youth into his movement. He wanted there to be a youth movement that would usher in the new age of Crowley.
Many people are surprised to find out that artists like Sting, yet another of the biggest artists of all time, is influenced by Aleister Crowley. Sting says of his tarot cards, these cards were designed in the 1940s under the supervision of Aleister Crowley. They're quite stunning. Crowley was known in his lifetime as the evilest man on earth and the great beast. Sting has not only admitted being into Aleister Crowley, but has stated that Aleister Crowley's death card is his favorite card. The death card is a Grim Reaper, who is also understood to be an agent of Satan or a representative of Satan himself. Sting says, my favorite tarot card is death. Oh, here it is. How strange death should be right on top. Anyhow, I find it extraordinary how strong are the feelings this card inspires in me.
During Beyonce's Super Bowl appearance, the Twitter universe lit up with people claiming that Beyonce was flashing the Illuminati or Devil's Triangle. The concern was so great that mainstream media outlets tried to explain it away as simply a reference to her husband Jay-Z's record company. Of course, this simplistic approach ignored the fact that Jay-Z and Beyonce are aware that the symbol has a layered meaning and occultic or Luciferian connotations. In fact, they are not only aware of this, but as you can see, Beyonce's husband Jay-Z promotes the occult aspect of the Eye of Horus and the triangle through his rock-aware apparel. Sadly, countless young people are wearing the Eye of Horus and have been introduced to the darkest of occult symbology through Jay-Z and his rock-aware empire. Here we see a shot of a ritual of the Order of the Temple of Astarte, a chartered Crowleyan organization which admittedly contacts demons in their rituals using the same symbol that Jay-Z, Beyonce, and so many others are using. Here we also see Satanist Anton LaVey, who wrote the Satanic Bible and started the Church of Satan using the Eye of Horus or the triangle symbol in his satanic rituals. Here we see Satanist Aleister Crowley, who promoted the sacrifice of innocent children and who signed his name the Beast 666, wearing the Eye of Horus in the triangle, one of the main symbols for the Age of Horus and the coming reign of Antichrist. Crowley's favorite Antichrist maxim was, "Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law." Do what thou wilt as opposed to doing God's will became the backbone of Crowleyanity. Here we see Jay-Z with "Do what thou wilt" emblazoned across one of his shirts. Notice also next to Aleister Crowley is a book with a circle and a pentagram on the front cover. One of the most basic symbols used in the occult and Satanism to contact demonic beings as a sphere of receptivity to Satan and demonic forces, often resulting in demonic possession. Jay-Z, Beyonce's husband, knows what it means to be possessed by spirits, as he admits here, claiming that he is a modern-day Frank Sinatra and that he is possessed by spirits.
I feel like, Sinatra. In my time, modern day Sinatra, so, I try to live up to that, I get possessed by the spirits. I get possessed by the spirits.
When we understand how the circle and pentagram are used at times in the occult and Satanism and take a closer look at Beyonce's Super Bowl performance, it becomes even more chilling. Near the beginning of her performance, we see Beyonce fall to the ground into what becomes a circle of light. It's interesting that after Beyonce lies down in the circle, we then see appear an inverted pentagram. The inverted pentagram in Satanism often signifies the goat-headed depiction of Satan himself. And here we see Beyonce with the inverted pentagram with the goat-headed Baphomet when she introduced the spirit of Sasha Fierce, who she claimed possessed her. Here we see the goat-headed satanic Baphomet on Beyonce's ring. And here we see at Beyonce's Super Bowl appearance, one of her dancers adorned with an upside-down pentagram worked into her apparel. Beyonce, entering the circle with the inverted pentagram, appears to be her way of signaling that she's allowing the spirit named Sasha Fierce, the entity that she claimed possesses her and channels her during performances, to take control of her body. Beyonce has even worked Sasha Fierce into her wardrobe. The Daily Mail described her Super Bowl outfit as, quote, fierce and sexy, which was fitting for the entity Sasha Fierce. The man behind the design, Ruben Singer, says his creation of Beyonce was inspired by female warrior gods in Norse mythology. Incredibly, you can see what appears to be the goat-headed satanic Baphomet worked into Beyonce's bizarre attire. Later in Beyonce's Super Bowl performance, we see Beyonce represented by the Hindu goddess Kali. Kali is often associated with darkness and death and depicted with the bloody heads on a necklace of her slain. Kali is a fitting image for Sasha Fierce, as she is a counterpart of Shiva, the god of destruction. Beyonce also employs the Gemini twins, seen taking up a huge part of the stage. In Babylonian mythology, the Gemini twins represented, quote, the god of plague and pestilence, who was king of the underworld, end quote. It may be that what Beyonce is depicting in the Gemini symbols, which resemble her, is a spiritual synthesis with Sasha Fierce, which would signify full-blown demonic possession. Beyonce has admitted in the past that she looked forward to the time when her and Sasha Fierce would be indistinguishable. Beyonce has expressed her desire to communicate the vibe of spirit possession in her music. She claims that she even wants a whole video to feel possessed.
I want to be so wild, almost possessed. And I want the whole video to feel possessed. I want the whole video to feel possessed.
Beyonce may have found more than she bargained for and ended up getting possessed by a spirit. Rolling Stone stated in one article on Beyonce, quote, a woman possessed, Beyonce is gripped by a spirit so powerful it even has a name, Sasha, end quote. Beyonce said in an extra interview, quote, I think Sasha Fierce is part of me. That's why the name of the album was I Am Sasha Fierce. She goes on to say, she lives within me.
I think Sasha Fierce is a part of me. That's why the name of the album was I Am Sasha Fierce, because it's all the same. She lives within me.
Beyonce claims that she is typically more reserved and cannot sing with as much power, but when this spirit entity possessed her body, it energized her vocal ability and caused her performances to skyrocket.
I'm really kind of shy, and not really shy, but more reserved, and nothing like Sasha. But I guess I wouldn't be very entertaining on the stage, so Sasha comes out, and she's fearless. You know, she can do things that I cannot do when I'm in rehearsal. I mean, I can try, but then it just doesn't happen. I can sing notes and sing strong and do all these things that when I'm just by myself, I can't do. And I remember right before I performed, I raised my hands up, and it was kind of the first time I felt something else come into me,
Strangely, Beyonce in the past has depicted herself on stage as picking up a coin with the image of her face on one side and the image of Sasha Fierce on the other. When flipping the coin, if it comes up Sasha Fierce, she then allows the spirit entity of Sasha to take control of her body. Beyonce appears to be possessed by an evil and perverted spirit of harlotry. Apparently, the spirit entity Sasha Fierce leads her into perverse and raunchy sexual behavior that Beyonce would never do if not under Sasha Fierce's diabolical influence. Beyonce has admitted, quote, "When I see a video of myself on stage or TV, I'm like, who is that girl? That's not me. I wouldn't dare do that. And I wouldn't like Sasha if I met her off stage," end quote. This demonic entity is more than some alter ego, but a spirit that possesses Beyonce's body. In fact, Beyonce seems to black out and be unconscious of her body when this evil spirit takes control. She describes it this way, quote, "I have out-of-body experiences. If I cut my leg, if I fall, I don't even feel it. I'm so fearless. I'm not aware of my face or my body," end quote. Beyonce says, quote, "It's like a blackout. When I'm on stage, I don't know what the blank happens. I am gone," end quote. She has said recently, quote, "I'm more powerful than my mind can even digest and understand," end quote.
I am the Lord your God.
I was just hanging out with the Lord one day, and I said, "Lord, I want to be a part of your army." I said, "Lord, I want to be a part of your army. I want to be a part of that generation of people that you raise up." And the Lord, he just sang this over me. He said, "You got your best man on your front side. You always show your best side. Evil's always on the other side. Say this is your strategy. But son, I hope you take it from me. You look just like your enemy. Full of pride. You're full of pride. And I just sang back to him. I said, "Better try and shine out as if we're gonna be in the army of the Lord."
When pride comes, then comes disgrace. But with humility comes wisdom.
And the greatest idol is you and me. We better get on the threshing floor. When will we learn that God's strategy is giving glory to the Lord?
For he will command his angels concerning you, to guard you in all your ways.
In the army of the Lord. shine and see. And worldwide is your strategy. But shining star, I hope you see. If the whole wide world is staring straight at you, they can't see. They can't see me. I want them to know me, but they can't see me. I want them to know me. I want to show my glory, but they can't see me. So rise, rise, rise. Live out your fantasy. Think that you're better than me. Rise, rise, rise. Live out your man-made religiosity. Rise, rise, rise. Live out your strategies. Rise, 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 so the world can see.
And God spoke all these words. I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery. You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make for yourself an idol, in the form of anything in heaven above, or on the earth beneath, or in the waters below. You shall not bow down to them or worship them. For I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, punishing the children for the sin of the fathers to the third and fourth generation of those who hate me, but showing love to 1,000 generations of those who love me and keep my commandments. You shall not misuse the name of the Lord your God, for the Lord will not hold anyone
better get on the threshing floor. When will we learn that God's strategy is giving love?